Let us imagine 100 years into the future. There are 11 billion people in the face of Earth. 11 billion souls that need to be fed daily, which need food and water to survive. And it is your duty, your choice, your decision to determine their future. Because today you will decide your future by choosing between genetically modified organisms or not. But you can be asking, what is a genetically modified organism or GMO? Well, a GMO is an organism that is modified, engineered in a lab, so that it produces more food, it eats less food, it consumes less water. So it would be better for the environment. So you can pick between these two beans. This red bean will give you GMOs, and these sky blue beans will give you a world without GMOs. It seems that you would like to see how's the future with the red pill. So let's go into it. So it is my duty to show you the future you have decided. But let us go back to the basic idea of a GMO. A GMO is a genetically modified organism, and it is engineered in a lab. Some DNA is cut, some DNA is added, so that the organism can survive better in farming conditions. You need to know some things to have into consideration for this speech. So, livestock use 70% of water, of the fresh water we have around Earth, with farming. So this 70% of the water that humans use daily goes to livestock. Other second point that you need to understand is that 40% of the food produced by humans ends up as feed for livestock. So it's food that isn't going directly to humans, but it is going to livestock first. And that food is mostly lost as heat, poop, and pee of the animal. So how is a GMO animal beneficial? Well, a GMO animal in a shorter period of time eats more food. And you will think, oh, that's bad. No, it isn't bad, because it grows faster. So less food becomes heat, less food becomes poop, less food becomes pee of the animal. So you are giving more but receiving more. So in the long run, you end up having more food. So let us imagine two farms, one with 1,000 GMO cows and one with 1,000 non-GMO cows. The farm with the 1,000 GMO cows will, in a short period of time, consume more food, but in the long period of time, it would have consumed less food per kilo of cow than the farm with the non-GMO cows. Why? Because they grow faster, so they can go to the slaughterhouse faster. GMO cows are meant to be stronger, be healthier. Therefore, they don't need as much medicine to survive. Nowadays, they can be extremely costly, but in 1,000 years, they are gonna be extremely cheap. So it would be eco-friendly to the environment, because the environment is the most affected by animals, by livestock. Why? When you feed a cow, a pig, a chicken, it's a food, but also the bacteria inside of the animal eat, and they like to fart. And all those bacteria farts end up in there through natural processes. So, if we can reduce the lifespan of the cow, we are reducing the emission of CO2, methane, and other uh, climate change producing gases. So, how can we see it nowadays? Because we don't have truly GMO cows now. This is only a hypothesis. Now we have an American Canadian farm which grows salmon. You think, okay, and why do I care about salmon? Well, these salmons are genetically modified so that their growth hormones goes like this, always continuing. Meanwhile, natural salmon would go like ooh, up and down, up and down. So the salmon doesn't grow as fast. And this means that salmon with the GMO would be ready in half the time that it would take for a natural salmon to grow. So it is better for the environment because it is needed less food to grow this salmon in the long run. And you can be thinking, and what about if this salmon escapes? Well, 95 out of the 100 salmon are infertile. They can't bear fish again. And even if those 5 that could end up in the river next by that farm, because the farm is next by a river, those salmon grow so fast that they would die out of starvation because natural salmon has evolved so they grow slower because food grows slower in nature. Some people state that GMOs could produce superbugs. A superbug is a bacteria that can wipe out a huge population because it doesn't answer to antibiotics and the immune system of the animal. But as humans, we have dealt with bugs throughout history. We can deal with them. It isn't a thing that we can think, oh, I should fear about it. But let us imagine a crisis. For example, let us say that in France, some rabbits which are GMO'd escape. And now crops are dwindling because they can reproduce with the natural rabbits. Or in Mexico, that news reporter finds out that some scientists are making GMO cows that are now suffering due to the genetically modified bodies that they have. I don't know, they grow tumors or they are unhealthy due to the modifications. Or imagine that due to these, there is a superbug, as I said before. But this superbug isn't as the ones that we have dealt before. It kills not only the animals, but also us. How should we deal with it? And you can be thinking, okay, what about the blue pill? So let us take the blue pill. Okay, so now in this future that you have now selected, which is a new future without GMOs, environmentalists have decided that GMOs are bad for the environment because it goes against the human ethics to modify GMOs. Because they suffer, it makes us play like gods, although we have been playing like gods for millennia because we destroy natural selection to make artificial selection. We need to remember that 40% of the food produced by humans ends up in livestock and 70% of the water goes to farming and livestock. So it is something that isn't going directly to humans. They aren't proposing a world without livestock. They're proposing a world without GMO livestock. And their propaganda states the average human eats 3 pork chops a day. But the average humans only eats 3 portions a week. Therefore, we are cutting the amount of portion each human eats. Therefore, we need less cows, we need less pork, we need less chicken, among other food that we grow as livestock. Therefore, we are reducing the amount of climate change gases, among other things and risks that having this GMOs animals or natural animals would produce. And some start proposing the idea, let us eat bugs, and you would be, ah, bugs, you, messy, ah, cockroaches. But the truth is that for millennia, for centuries, civilizations have eaten bugs. In China, India, Mexico, Peru, Africa, people have been eating bugs. Because 1 kilo of cow meat, pork meat, chicken meat has less protein than a kilo of bug. Why? Because the bug is smaller, it needs more protein. As the bug is small, it needs less food. So, for example, if now we needed to give 40% of the food to animals, we can only give 5% to the bugs. Which means that these 35% can go directly to humans. With a GMO, we could say like, I don't know, 20%. So now we have a 15% amount that can go again more with humans. And I'm not saying that GMOs aren't beneficial. I'm saying that there is a more beneficial solution to the issue of farming and starvation. I'm not saying that GMOs are bad, but the risk of having them outweighs the solution that would be to eat bugs, which are safe, have been eaten by centuries, can be grown easily, they eat less food. So, as a matter of showing you which are the possible futures you can choose, it's up to you to decide whether you take the risk of selecting GMOs, which, as I said before, are beneficials but have lots of risks, or selecting a future without livestock but with the risk of humans not wanting to eat bugs, but with a future in which they can eat bugs and they will eat bugs as a solution to world famine, droughts, among other social issues that are affecting mankind. So it's up to you to decide. I will decide the future of bugs, because they are even more beneficial than GMOs, more beneficial than natural animals. So thank you for watching.